Drucker County is also one of the maps that we are doing a revision of in Update 29. Brant, do you want to give folks a primer on what we actually did here in Drucker County? To me, it seems like one of the more dramatic changes that we've actually made.
Drucker actually got the biggest facelift. It got all new trees and vegetation. I mean, from bottom up, because, you know, our intent was to show sort of the more arid parts of the Pacific Northwest, the Columbia Plateau, things like that. And just retexturing our old rocks was not cutting it, and neither was using our, you know, Western Washington based trees and shrubs. So they went ahead and redid did a whole new set of trees and bushes and rocks and ground textures for Drucker to get that sort of arid feel to it that it needed, like, because you know, it's such a different biome than Western Washington is.
Yeah.
And it is also you're going to see the lighting it's going to feel drier and sometimes crisper, and sometimes dustier, because there's a lot of dust in Eastern Washington. And like that shot in particular, I just love, because that feels like if you go to Eastern Washington and look at, stand on top of Steptoe Butte and look at the sunset, it's going to look a lot like that, actually, because they took a lot of pride in trying to make this feel both different and from our other maps, but also stay with that Pacific Northwest feeling of State of Decay. And I think they knocked it out of the park, in my opinion.
Yeah, the reddish look that they gave, it's just a subtle reddish tone that they gave to all of the rocks and kind of the dirt on this map has made such a difference, because, you know, when you're making a map that's meant to feel sort of dry and deserty, it's really easy to just sort of lean into sort of a brown color that sort of makes everything sort of flow together and just feel like you're playing a game in sepia tones. But when they have this sort of red color in here, it feels like it's a much more sort of distinctive look that the map has. It's like, oh wow, this feels like I'm in a red desert. It's like you're gonna be able to tell really clearly that you're in Drucker County and not in any of the other maps whenever you're here, which is just, I don't know, it's got a really cool vibe to it.
Yeah, one of the questions was, can we tweet out these before and after videos? And I'm sure that we can do that. I'll talk to Megan and see if we can make those into tweetable things.
I actually think that actually was the reason that they were created. I actually stole them to put in this video, to put in this stream. Yeah, I think they were created specifically so that we could share them on social media once we had announced Update 29. So yeah, totally expect that you'll be able to see those someplace. I'm not sure exactly where. Maybe it'll be our Instagram account. Maybe it'll be tweets. Maybe it'll be everywhere. I don't know. Heather could probably give us a solid answer to that.
Heather covers all the bases. So it might even be on MySpace, and, you know.
Yeah, so I brought the sort of the red off-road vehicle here. I figured that would probably be oh my gosh, what the zombies. I figured that would be sort of the best one to sort of take through this area. I'm gonna be driving up towards like one of the biggest landmarks in Drucker County, which is the 10,000 gallon hat. But check it. So this is the morning right now. This is the way it's lit in the morning, where, you know, you'll notice that Cascade Hills was very foggy, and it felt like sort of the light was sort of like, you know, shining almost through an ocean in the air. Here, there's still dust in the air, and you're still getting that beautiful sort of depth and parallax effect as you're looking at these rolling hills and mountains in the background. But you still feel like you're being hit by the sun. You're not sort of under the shelter of fog the same way you are in Providence Ridge. I mean,
if you're trying to get to the 10,000 gallon hat, you're going to the exact opposite.
Did I just take I did take the wrong turn. Wasn't paying attention. I'm sitting here trying to talk about the lighting, and I'm not navigating my car. We'll do it. We'll get there eventually. It's fine. So you were saying that so a lot of our maps, they do share a lot of things in common. A lot of the buildings are similar, a lot of the fences and things like that. Like, it's really efficient for us to reuse a lot of art assets, but it sounds like Drucker County actually got, you know, a lot of stuff that is not really necessarily shared with all of the other maps. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, by the nature of our game, we are obligated to use, you know, roughly the same building setups and things like that. So a house in Drucker is going to be, you're going to find the same house somewhere in Cascade Hills. You're going to find it, you know, you're going to find it over and over again. That's just, we don't have an option to do something different than that.
Yeah.
But Drucker now actually feels like someplace that's completely different because of this massive change we made to the plants and trees.
Yeah.
And the lighting. Like you were saying, the dust in the air reminds me so much of when I was a farmer over in Eastern Washington, because every morning you'd get up and it might be clear, but then the farmers get out and start messing with the fields and dust gets in the air, and you can almost taste the air because there's so much grit and stuff in it.
Like, check out these, I'm looking at sort of this. There is enough dust in the air that like sort of the sun is a little bit obscured, but you can see these like very subtle God rays that are coming through between the branches of these kind of sparse, dry-looking trees, and you just get this vibe of being in sort of this sort of warm, dry place that is, I don't know, it's just really hard to replicate in any of the other maps. Like you feel a certain way in here that you just don't feel anywhere else, which is really cool. Let me switch up the time of day real quick so we can see what this map looks like around noon. So yeah, the sun gets very bright during the day. I think one thing that you'll notice that I think a lot of our lighting, we pushed it to be even more naturalistic than it was before. You'll see a lot of sort of like comparing the new lighting to the old lighting. The old lighting does tend to have a little bit more of like a kind of a high contrast sort of video game vibe, whereas the newer lighting tends to be a little bit like sort of softer, like the atmospheric effects are a little stronger. But noon in Drucker is still really bright and high contrast because you want that in the desert, right?
Yeah, this is closer to sort of real life than we've ever been, actually.
And these these towering desert rocks, it's like you're not going to see this, necessarily a lot in Cascade Hills, but it really gives sort of this like distinctive look to Drucker. And check out that chasm in the distance. So you were saying
that's actually some of the new stuff that they added to give it a much, make you feel like you're part of a larger world instead of just in a cereal bowl of rocks.
Exactly, yeah. If it's just like if every map is just sort of surrounded by terrain bumps in the background, it's not nearly as interesting as Providence Ridge having or like Trumbull Valley having this massive mountain in the background versus there being a canyon that you can see from here. It really makes them feel like they're different places, not just like you said, a bunch of cereal bowls all next to each other with like little ridges in between. So yeah, I love the 10,000 gallon hat. So I like using it as sort of like a foreground landmark when I'm looking over at the desert in the background. But yeah, while I'm over here, let's. I think I'm gonna climb up this guy and see what we can see because.
I mean, you might as well. You've made the trek.
Yeah, exactly. While I do, let's go. Actually, let's bring the lighting into sort of the sunset sort of vibe. So you can see now the stuff in the foreground is a little darker, and the sky is still bright, but not for long.
And I'd like to announce another winner.
Oh, cool.
Xaphius, Xafius on YouTube. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's really exciting. So yeah, we're so glad that you're getting a Steam code, so you can join us in the public test realm, and you can try all these changes out before anybody else. One of our favorite things. Oh, and actually, somebody asked you a question. You answered it in the chat, Brant, but I should bring it up too. People are asking, if you run into a bug that is like killing your survivors or something, and you really want to make sure that we're on top of it, what you want to do is go to support.stateofdecay.com. There you can sort of lodge a ticket, and our customer advocate team will listen to you. And if you found a new bug that we aren't aware of, they'll write up a bug and they'll use whatever reference you're able to give them as sort of the foundation for our work trying to fix it. So yeah, we would love to have you participate that way. We really base a lot of our work on the feedback that we get from players through the support side.
Here's a really important question. Will the game's minimum requirement specs be going up with all the graphical enhancements? And the answer is no.
Yeah, Valkyrie, they're a bunch of pros, and they work. They've got a lot of experience working in video game development, and one of the key skills you have to have is you can't just throw all of the polygons on whatever problem you're trying to solve when you're doing video game art. You have to always think, within your resource constraints. And so yeah, they have part of what makes Valkyrie really great at their jobs is the fact that they know all of the tricks that it takes to make something look really good but still be really performant.
Yes. I mean, they have levels of expertise that we didn't have when we made the game. So it was just their knowledge base was vital, and I can't sing their praises enough. I wish they were sitting right here because I'd be high-fiving them.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, I think I'm being quietly chased by zombies, so I'm going to climb up here real quick. Oh, wait, I can't climb up
You're
here.
not going to climb up that rock.
That rock is not going to work for me. I'm just trying to get... Well, how did I get here? I jumped down off these rocks, but they are not scalable. So I'm going to go around them and try to get back to my car.
Have you been playing a game that you can climb rocks, unlike ours, Geoffrey?
Yeah, it's like I've been sitting there playing Dying Light 2 for the past few days instead of State of Decay 2.
Yes, that is a problem.
So yeah, that happens to me all the time. I also keep trying to do things that I can do in Rainbow Six Extraction while I'm playing State of Decay 2.
Or like shoot through walls and things?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to pop into this car, put a little distance between me and the zombies, but then I want to just show real quick before we switch. I'll just let the zombies get on the car. It's fine. This is what DRUCKER looks like at night. So this might be one of the best, strongest contrasts between day and night that we have in the game, where you go from this bright sun at noon to this sort of deep darkness at night, which is just, I don't know, it's beautiful. It still has a little bit of that red tone to it that makes it look different from the other maps. But yeah, it's got a whole different vibe from the daytime.
Yeah, I mean, the nighttime here feels a little stuffy, right? And it's supposed to, because it can often get really hot at night in Eastern Washington. It can also get cold, but we're not doing the winter thing. So, but yeah, we want definitely, again, Valkyrie listened and understood that we wanted each map to still have its own kind of unique feel in the lighting, but not be video game feel anymore, with the Matrix green overlay or whatever you want to call it. It just feels right. Everything about it feels right.
Especially if you're in a map like this one, which is newly settled and it's full of plague hearts. The plague hearts fog adds a lot to the existing Drucker County, dust, and they all together just really create this sort of stuffy vibe.